Hello! We're gonna try this again. This is Griff, and I hope you guys can see and hear me. I tried to do a, whoops, what's this? I tried to do a Facebook Live a minute ago, well, 15 minutes ago, somewhere else, and it did not work. Sometimes we have reception. Let me just tell you something. I'm Griff from Humboldt Redwood State Park. And sometimes we have good reception in one grove one day, and then the next day it changes. And that's what I just experienced, which is an amazing grove. Beautiful. It's the grove that John Muir called the most exquisite example of a forest. It's the grove that inspired the state park system, which started the state park system. And so I was really looking forward to doing a live there because we got this new machine called PepWave, and it was supposed to help us be able to go where we've never gone before and do lives. Hey, someone from Australia. What's up, Andy? Hey, Kim. And it just didn't work. So here I am in my favorite grove, Lower Mahan Platte Grove Trail. And we're going to try this again. I won't walk around too much. Let me show you guys where we're at. Today's going to be a different kind of live. I would like this to be a discussion, and several of you on here I know are nature nuts, and watch plenty of state park. Hey, Judy from Nevada. Watch plenty of our lives, and so I just want to have a discussion with you. We have so in California here, and I'll walk around a little bit more and then I'll park it just in case it's ruining the connectivity. But let me know if I'm freezing or lagging or anything like that. Let me know if it's clear and good, because that kind of information is really helpful to those of us who do lives, because we never know how we're coming across, how the technology is working, unless you guys tell us. So let me know if this is working out. But anyways, back where I was. So California Biodiversity Day is, Nancy from Oakland, is September 7th. But we're going to celebrate it here in North Coast Redwood Districts from the 5th to the 13th. Okay? Okay, good. Thanks, Kyle. And so we're going to be celebrating it in lots of different ways. And so I want to talk to you guys about that, but I need some advice. Okay, so this is going to be a discussion. I'm going to find a good place to park it, and then we'll have the discussion. Right there is good connect. All right, so maybe isn't it beautiful here? Oh my gosh. Look at all that wounding burlish material there on that wart, redwood wart. You don't want to catch those. There's all kinds of beautiful things around here. Yes, Andrea, I love big trees too. All right, so maybe I'll sit underneath this thing right here. My friend tells her niece that these are where fairies hide. They hide inside those. So we'll sit below it in case any fairies want to jump out and help me. So I'm going to sit down here. All right. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at. Can you guys see what I'm looking at? All right. So, oh great. Hey, Joseph. Good. I'm glad you're on here, because what I'd like to talk to you guys about is for Biodiversity Day, starting tomorrow, I want to help people understand what biodiversity is. It's variety of life. But the language around protecting biodiversity, some of the concepts are hard for a lot of people to get. So I'd like to know, which concepts are hard for people to get. Is the whole, habitat, ecosystem, biome thing confusing? What do you guys think is confusing that I should clear up? Because Biodiversity Day in California, no, I did not remember my cup. Braid, thanks for mentioning that. I'll have to go back and find it again. Biodiversity Day is, Governor Brown signed it in 2 years ago because California is so biodiverse. It's one of the 33 global biodiversity hotspots. What's up, Brian? And we want to protect it. So there's some executive orders that the governor issued with the proclamation of Biodiversity Day, and most of it's about what land managers can do, like collecting rare plant seeds and stuff like that, and planting more native plants and those kinds of things. But also we're supposed to involve the public. And so one of the things we're doing here is, to celebrate Biodiversity Week, is on the 5th, we're going to have a BioBlitz competition between two parks. So what a BioBlitz is, it's a group of volunteers that come together to use the iNaturalist app take photos of different little creatures, plants, bugs, birds, and you upload them on the iNaturalist app, and it's free, and you can download it on your phone, iPhone or Android, okay? Or you can create it on your desktop. And you take a picture of these little things, and it goes onto your profile, and you can create a profile. So it's almost like a Facebook. It's like a social media thing for super nature nerds. And then, so say like you saw some sorrel. Whoa. Hold on. Here's some sorrel. So say like you took a picture of that. And then you uploaded it. And I'm going to definitely put some video tutorials on here. And then you uploaded it. And you said, and there'll be a little thing that says, what did you see? And you can click on it if you don't know. And it will use like face recognition technology to figure out what kind of plant it is and help you identify it. So say it says redwood sorrel, and so you say yes, and it uploads. People can see what you uploaded, okay? And they could be like, yes, that is redwood sorrel. And if 3 people say, yes, that's redwood sorrel, and they click the check mark, it becomes research grade. It turns green and it says research grade. And it gets uploaded to the California Academy of Sciences and several other databases, and it now becomes a tool for biologists. So if they're studying like climate change and how species are moving because of the changing climate, they can see where the species are going. Or if something, if there's a new invasive species that just recently invaded, because we have invasive species coming to California every day, unfortunately. They can tell like, oh, this is a new invasive species. Or sometimes even species that they thought were rare, maybe even extinct can be found using iNaturalist, and I believe there's a story about that. So iNaturalist is a really good tool. So between the 5th and 12th, we're going to have a competition between Prairie Creek and Humboldt Redwoods, and we're going to see who can take the most pictures and upload the most to iNaturalist. And you can just go to the parks and take pictures. I'll automatically set it up. So any pictures you take in Humboldt Redwood State Park or in Prairie Creek between September 5th and 12th is automatically going to go up to our projects. And so you can go to Humboldt Redwood BioBlitz or Prairie Creek BioBlitz, and you can see what everybody's doing in that time and see who's winning, because it's a competition. And there's going to be 2 team captains. Kyle's going to be the Prairie Creek captain, and you guys probably met Nature Guide Kyle from his Facebook Lives. And then Erika, you probably met her from her Facebook Lives. She's going to be the Humboldt Redwood State Parks captain. So that's one way we're celebrating that. So let me see some of your comments. Okay. Hope I remembered your cup. What's up, Brian? Sandra, the wart-looking thing is a burl behind me. When redwoods get injured, they sometimes create like warts, and some of them you could cut off and plant in the ground and would grow 1 million trees out of it. They're like super nurseries. A lot of people poach them and make beautiful tables and stuff out of them. So it's like a wound healing thing the tree does. BioBlitz, yes, Andy, you guys should do that in your national parks for sure. BioBlitzes are so much fun. And you can go on iNaturalist.org. Kim gave us the link right there if you look in the comments, and you can go there and you can find, thank you very much for doing that, Kim. Braid says, I don't understand native. What makes a plant native? And at what point has a plant been somewhere long enough to be considered native? What historical climate change is anything technically native? That is a very, 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 very good question, and that should be its own Facebook Live. I'll tell you right now that there's native and there's naturalized. And how is native, for example, I could go off on this subject, I don't know if I should, but if it came over across a Bering Strait, like furrow bees, they're considered native now because they've been here so long, they've naturalized and they fit into the ecosystem, so they fit into the balance. Things could be non-native and fine, like they don't do any damage, like palm trees or something. But if it's non-native and it's reducing biodiversity and throwing the ecosystem off, then it's considered invasive. So the qualifications for native would be it got here on its own and established itself without the aid of humans, so it didn't get on a plane, didn't get on a boat, didn't get in the ballast of a ship. So that's a really good point. That should be one of the 1 minute. So I'm going to do 1 minute. I'm going to do 1 minute Instagram and Facebooks talking about biodiversity concepts or how you can help biodiversity between now and September 5th. Yes, Braid, I would love to talk. So if anybody else has any ideas of things that you can do to help biodiversity or concepts, biodiversity style conservation, preservation concepts that you would like explained with examples, please let me know. Some of the other things we're going to do between the 5th and the 12th for Biodiversity Week is we're going to interview some of the biologists that work in North Coast districts, California State Park, And they're going to tell us what they're doing to protect biodiversity, because we have endangered species here. Now, endangered species, there's state endangered species and there's federal endangered species. And one of the biodiversity conceptual talks will be about what's the difference, what's threatened, what's endangered. They are government designations. And most of the things that get put on the endangered species list eventually come off. Like, it helps. It's a solution thing. Do you guys like that forest here? What a beautiful forest. You'll never get tired of this place. The whole concept of rewilding is interesting. Yes, I love rewilding. I actually just read a book about it called Feral, which is an extremely interesting book by George Manobia. I don't know how he says his last name, but super good. And rewilding is basically like reintroducing wolves into California would be rewilding. There's a video called Wolves Without Rivers, I think it's called, or Rivers Without Wolves, that you should definitely watch. It's a good rewilding video. We're reintroducing monkeys back into parts of the Amazon. I would love to see badgers reintroduced and wolverines reintroduced in some of their old ranges. There's been a lot of things been reintroduced. Argentina has reintroduced a lot of stuff, including a macaw, like parrot-like bird, that was only alive in cages in people's houses, and they collected a bunch of them and bred them and taught them how to be wild, and now there's a wild population back out. So that's one of my favorite rewilding stories. Let's see here. Oh, there's some good suggestions. Hello, Jennifer. Are there carnivorous plants in the park? That's another great question. There's northern ones. Also, controlled prescribed fire. Yes, that's a great time to talk about controlled and prescribed fire. That would make an excellent live. So, like, again, if you're late joining us, we're talking about Biodiversity Week, which is September 5th through 12th. And between now and then, I want to do some 1 minute on our Instagram, and mostly on the Humboldt Redwood State Park page. I want to do some 1 minute, just explanations, either concepts around conservation or things you can do to help biodiversity. David Reed says there are carnivorous plants in the northern parts of North Coast Redwood District and Smith River National Restoration District, Darlingtonia. And yes, there is, and they are absolutely amazing, very, very cool plants. And my mom actually bought one in a nursery, and it bloomed in her backyard in McKinleyville. It was really, really cool to see insectivorous plant there, but they're always better in the wild, and you can definitely see them in Smith River Recreation Area. I built trails down there right next to them. It was super cool. iNaturalist projects for BioBlitz competition will be collected here starting September 5th. Oh, so he's like putting, if you look in the comments to our BioBlitz project pages. So iNaturalist is a really, really, really good tool for those of you who don't understand it yet. I'm going to be posting some videos, but iNaturalist is citizen science that you can download to your phone, and you don't need reception. You need reception to download it, but you don't need a reception to use it, because you take pictures, and then once you get into reception, it can upload them, and it will help you identify them. And so you can really start to identify things. The thing not to get caught up in, and I used to work with 18 to 25-year-olds, and I want to warn you against just identifying something and then think you know what it is, because that's kind of like what we're programmed to do. So you meet me and I say, hey, my name's Griff, and you're like, oh, that's Griff, I know him. No, you don't know anything about me. You know what I'm saying? You just know what I'm called. And the same thing about you. Like if I said, oh, there's Joseph Martin, that's just someone's name. That's not who they are. You don't know anything about them. So when you learn a plant, its name or whatever, then look it up, watch it, see what bugs are on it, see if there's an association like that's gone back millions of years where this bug and this plant, is it the only bug that can use this plant? It's one of the few, kind of like milkweed only has a few bugs that can actually eat the leaves. So you don't want to start, once you learn the identification, that's just the beginning. That's just how you can open the door. That's just seeing the door. Knowing the name of a plant or an animal is just seeing the door. It hasn't been opened yet, and you don't know what's on the other side. So it's, iNaturalist helps with identifying, and then it has a connection to Wikipedia pages, so you can learn. So I can take a picture of a moth, and it's a hairy-backed moth, and you're like, oh, hairy-backed moth, I know what it is now. Oh wait, we should probably look it up, and you look it up, and you can find some really interesting things about it. Okay, so that just happened to me the other day. I found this little bug inside of a seed pod of a French broom, and I found out that bug it was called a French broom or Scotch broom beetle, and it was released here as a biological control to control the invasive species that French broom is. DC Portland, saw you last week in the South Miranda. Questions I don't ask, those people were there for a bit. How do we end up with so much ivy in the avenue? Oh, that's a great question. DC Portland, that's a great question. Is there plans to attack it? So invasive species are a huge concern, and during September 5th to 12th, we're going to have biologists talking about invasive species. Michelle Forrest, who's in charge of getting rid of them. There's a lot, like DC Portland's mentioned in the comment, there's a lot of ivy in the park, and English ivy, oh my gosh. English ivy is a terrible invasive in this part of the world because it loves it here. It's wet. And English ivy comes with its own rats and snails. And what that means is like the non-native rats. The rats in your house are usually the ones, they're usually an invasive species from Norway. Our native rats usually don't go into your house unless it's a really cold winter. But the Norwegian rats, the European rats, the invasive rats will go into your house. And they love English ivy because they recognize it. You know, they evolved with it. And the European snail, so the escargot snail, the snail that most of you have in your backyard. So that snail loves English ivy because it can eat it, doesn't need to drink water. And the rat loves to eat the snails, and because the snails are so juicy, the rat doesn't need any water. So usually if you have a lot of rats around your house and you have a lot of English ivy around your house, that's why you have a lot of rats, because English ivy is great habitat for them. But here it has no enemies and nothing eats it, so it just covers up plants, and it even can get into trees and cause the trees to be weighted and blow down, so that it reduces biodiversity here. It's terrible. So we are DC. We do have some native plant bashes. Non-native invasive plants bashes planned, but not anytime soon because of COVID. Also around here, there's so much poison oak and the ivy that it's like really difficult to pull. Ivy, not icy. Kim says also ravens eat the ivy and spread the seeds. Yeah, ivy makes seeds and they get spread everywhere, and it's one of the only invasive plants that can invade a undisturbed old growth system. Most invasive plants need disturbance, like a road cut or a horse trail or ATV trail or whatever. But ivy just needs to be pooped out in the forest and it can grow. So if you guys get any other ideas for something you'd like to know more about or something you could do to help biodiversity, I would love to hear about it. Because like I said, on Humboldt Redwood State Park page, I'm going to do 1 minute how you can help biodiversity or explain some concept about biodiversity from now until September 5th. It'll be either be me or Erika, maybe Mary, but mostly it's going to be me because I am so in love with Biodiversity Day. I'm so grateful to be in a state that that celebrates Biodiversity Day. So super cool. If there's any more questions, I'll be happy to answer them. You're right, Joseph. Any walk you take, you can discover something new. There's a ton of ivy in Holtbrook Grove. Yeah, I know. Just tons and tons of ivy. So September 5th to September 12th, we're going to be doing bio blitzes, which is the competition with using the iNaturalist app. So if you're in the area, please come join us in Humboldt Redwood State Park or in Prairie Creek. It's a competition, and we're going to be talking more about that pretty soon. And if you have any questions or there's any lives you'd like to see, or anything like that, put them in the comments. I'm going to be reviewing them, and I'd be really, really happy to help you out, help you understand things. And when you guys ask me questions and I don't know the answer, I got to do the research, and then I learn, and I love learning about nature and ecology. So thank you very much. I will see you all later. Thank you for joining me. Any last minute questions? All right, Braid. All right, Cam. I'll see you all later. What's today? Friday? Happy Friday. See you guys later.